Hello. Can
Hey,
you hear
hey,
me
how
now?
are you? Yes.
Good, good. I'll have to set the phone down, but I just wanted to say hi. I have a loved one who's had a stroke, and that was
Oh,
long ago, over
okay.
26 years ago. So,
Wow. Okay.
um, left brain stroke,
Okay.
and so there's issues on the right side.
Right.
And I was just wondering if there's which is more effective, like pranic healing or
I
essential
would do
oils.
both. Yeah, I
Okay,
would do both. So this is kind of, different strokes that it was 26 years ago, and they're still having hemiplegia, on the right side of the body. It just means that one side of the body is affected. We'd want to try to regenerate that side as much as possible. So you
right.
have a couple things that you can do.
Okay,
So one is the use of Bacopa. And you can use the oil of Bacopa, or you can use the herb Bacopa from the health food store. I would give them like probably 3 capsules if it's from the health food store, 3 or 4 capsules a day. If it's the oil, like a couple of drops in water daily. I would use a combination going back and forth between sage and rosemary, and the rosemary will increase the circulation, and the sage will kind of help with the nerves, protect the nerves, but also deal with the brain fatigue from the incident itself. And
okay,
then a lot of times when you want to really rehab something that's happened in the brain, I would do big dosages of the mushroom lion's mane. Lion's mane is really good for when there's been some sort of toxicity to the brain, injury to the brain. It might not correct it, but it makes everything function better. It's like a restorative for brain tissue. And instead of buying like capsules, I would get it in powder. And I would take a teaspoonful of it, like drop it in some hot water or tea, and then have them drink it every morning. You could even
okay.
do bigger. We get big things of lion's mane like this, like fresh, and we chop it up and saute it like you would
Yeah,
like pieces of meat, and we eat the lion's mane. So we'll eat a big thing of lion's mane in a short amount of time for instead of meat, we'll just have a big hunk of lion's mane for dinner. And it's a food. Like you could take big dosages of it and it would be okay. And they're looking at it for toxic exposures to the brain and traumatic brain injuries. Like they're looking
hmm,
at like how lion's mane could impact those kinds of conditions. And
right.
the other thing that I would throw in the mix, and you have to take into account the person and how much they do. Like, you know what I mean? You could throw a bunch of things at it, but
Right,
if you're only going to get them to do maybe 1 or 2 things, like,
right.
I would choose the one and then slowly, you got to work with people where they're at.
Do
The,
you
the
think
other
like
thing I would use would be basil. Like basil would be a thing just to stimulate cognitive function, undo the stress from all the traumatic event and everything like that. And between all of that, it should have some improvement. pH wise, a lot of just greenish violet, greenish yellow into that side of the brain, like energize it for abnormally long amounts of time.
okay.
Yeah.
Now, thank you very much. If, like you said, if I can only choose like one thing, is the lion's mane
I
quite
would probably go
effective?
lion's mane or bacopa. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking of growing lion's mane because it sounds kind of simple, but so
It sounds simple. In fact, I
maybe
think
this
we
will,
just got a little log where we can grow our own lion's mane
right.
because we love it. Like it's
Yeah,
quite delicious too. It's like it's sauteed, a little olive oil to saute it up. It's quite delicious.
yes. Okay, so that's the sign. Um,
There's a place where you can buy it. What's that place that we buy it
oh, I
from?
found all the places where you buy that. Yeah, buy the
Yeah,
little thing,
you can get it. They'll send
punch
it
your
to you
little
like in a
holes
day or
and
two in a little like box with ice packs and everything. And it's like
right.
you pull them out and they're just these, and they're like $15 or something.
Yes. Oh, it's great. Okay. And I know I had another question. It has left my mind, so I'll save it for another week.
Okay, well, if you think of it before we get done today, fire
Okay.
away or email or
Will do. Thank
keep
you.
me posted. Like as that goes on,
Oh,
I would say within a few weeks, you should start to notice like a little bit improvement in cognitive function, in movement. In the old days, like when I was doing more osteopathic things, we would do osteopathic manipulations on the one side of the body, the hemiplegia on the side of the hemiplegia. You can use things that are things like basil or even lavender, like things that are like spasmophilia oriented. So that blend spasmophilia or things that have an impact on that mechanism, that spasmophilia. It won't change it overnight, but you just keep doing it and it keeps just unwinding it and unwinding it and unwinding it. And it's a lot of little baby steps, but you can definitely improve the quality of life for that person.
okay. That was part of my other question about how long before we might be able to see some improvements. So yeah, a few weeks with like lion's mane.
Yeah, most times, between doing energy healing and the herbs and the oils and things, within a couple of weeks, you usually start to see glimmers of change. Like it happens
Okay.
quicker than you would think. I mean, it's not like overnight, like, oh, this is amazing, but you're like, oh, they're walking more, they're more functional, they're thinking clearer, they're processing information a little differently, they're, whatever it is. And yeah, it's all an improvement.
Yeah, because it seems to be more like I guess like PTSD type of things where the person's angry or doesn't process things the correct
It's
way.
a brain injury. I mean,
yeah.
it's bottom line, it's a brain injury. Even though it's just, considered a stroke and we think about it in a particular way, I mean, it also is a brain injury. And so, impulse control can be affected. If there is a lot of impulse control issues, the temples, putting the Bacopa, let's see, Bacopa, or maybe sage in the temples, and again, the greenish violet, greenish yellow into the temples themselves. Because there you're hitting the prefrontal cortex, and that's the issue where the impulse control is being impacted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I allowed one more question?
You can